So here we are again. As you can see, I still have this thing apart. When I went to go put this into place, and I came to a couple different realizations. One is we're gonna my precious hot glue gun has died. Mananas. I don't know. I guarantee I left it plugged in and forgot about it. And I don't know how long it was running, but it finally died. Into the trash it goes. I have a new one. Brand new, still in the packaging. Probably, I don't know. I guarantee you this thing's at least 10 years old, and I've never even took it out of the packaging. So we're going to take this one out of the packaging. This one's actually a dual temperature one, right? My other one was just god-awful nuclear hot, like hot lava all the time. This is a dual melt. So I'm going to press that into service. It looks exactly like my old one, except this one's got a high-low switch on it. We'll just be leaving that on high. Pull the instructions out here and throw the packaging away. Alright, so we don't need this right now. Maybe the kickstand will work now. Okay, so what's going on? Well, I put this whole thing into position, and I came to the realization that this was a shit way of putting these up. So in one of the earlier videos, I showed how these are going to be poked up underneath of the. These are going to be mounted up underneath the overhang on the balcony or the patio, right? And very limited space there, 1.5 inches maximum. And I gave it a whole ton of thought, and I had an epiphany. Now, all of us drunks have epiphanies, or moments of clarity. And the moment of clarity that I had was, I have a 3D printer, right? So why not 3D print new bracketry to hold these things into place that are it's going to be a little bit easier to install. So these originally came with these brackets, and I think I showed it, but I forget. I've shot so much video on this project I can't remember exactly what it is, so I'm just going to be redundant. So these are supposed to be mounted in the wall as the wall is built, and then these things screw onto the outside. Well, I can't do that because, you know, everything I do is fancy pants. Oh, I think the printer might be done. I got another print going too. So I had this crazy idea that I was going to, it wasn't a crazy idea, it was a great idea, that I was going to no longer use these brackets, which pop right off actually, to mount, of course that one doesn't pop right off, and we're going to get to that in a second. I wasn't going to use these brackets to mount the lights with, because you can't put the screw in with the wire. You could, but I got to run in Tapcons. I can't run Tapcons in that way. So I sat down at my handy dandy Fusion 360, which is now just called Fusion, which I didn't realize, and I came up with these. Now these slide into here, and they're pretty tight, right? Not just yet. Get that out of the way. So these are pretty tight, which is the way this thing is supposed to work. These are actually too tight. You've got to be fucking kidding me. So these slide onto the end of here. these slide onto the end of the plug. And so the irony here, well, not irony, the weird thing, it's not even really weird, it's just the most aggravating thing, is the half-inch pipe, the half-inch tubing, the copper pipe, is not big enough to go over the end of this. It's literally maybe 2/1000ths smaller ID than the OD of this stupid ring. Now I could sit here and sand these little rings. I could have sat here and sand these little rings down until the pipe fit. I would have just been asinine. So I 3D printed new ones, which apparently are also now too small. I'm going to have to get a pair of pliers and hold this together. I have to test all these too because I've been a little bit abusive. I've been a little bit abusive to these lights. I think I know what's wrong there. Okay, that's no big deal. I'm going to put a little bit of lubrication on these. Once these go together, once these get put into position, and once these get mounted, they're good to go forever, right? So these are going to go in like this. That. So just like that. So I made new mounts. And I'll be able to adjust the lights how I need them because they are adjustable, right? So to shine where I want them to shine. It's irritating that they are just a little bit too tight. But this is the kind of stuff that makes these projects go way too long. But it's also one of the things that you just can't buy this kind of stuff. You know, you have to make it. You have to, or else you're looking at wires and brackets and all kinds of other shit. And I just don't want to do that. You know, theoretically, I'm a craftsman. I want my shit to be tight, right? So, yeah, so that goes in like that, and then I'll screw up from underneath. Now, the problem, and there's always a problem, right? I have to fucking cut this wire again. If you saw in the earlier video, I had a hell of a time getting this wire in here and mounted. And then I left this stupid amount of slack here on this end. Right? So there's way too much slack here. There's way too much exposed wire. Now, I'm going to have to cut this wire for the third time so I can install one of these. Now, I was originally going to use one of these and slip it over, and so this would have slipped into this like this. I made a slit in the bracket, right? So then it would go together like that. But I don't like that. I don't like it. The other thing I did, which was actually kind of cool when I did it, was I went out of my way to design these, you know, in such a manner that they were directional, basically. They fit perfectly, too. So one side was for pipe and then one side was for lamp. Well, I had, again, you know, a moment of clarity, epiphany, I don't know what you want to call it. That why would I do that when the difference in the pipe thickness and the difference in this bracket difference is negligible, to say the least. And when I say these are almost the same diameter, I'm not kidding. I don't want to say I couldn't measure it because I have precision measuring tools, but the difference was the thickness of the pipe, which is like, I don't know, 0.15. I forget what the difference is. Doesn't matter. So basically what I got to do is I got to cut this wire and pull this back through, put one of these on, going the right direction. Well, so that's why I don't have them going both ways, right? One, I would have had to make lefts and rights. and I just didn't feel like doing that. Now, I need to note too that these are made out of, these are printed with 100% infill in ABS. So theoretically, these are solid pieces of plastic. Hopefully they will hold together when I run the screws through them. I also printed them without support, so that could be interesting also. And I left a relief in here so I could fit the impact socket around it, right? So this isn't the screw I'm going to use, but no, this is. So the Tapcon will go all the way in, and there's plenty of room around the bracket for the a socket. I also printed a T because I need a T. Now, I was going to use a copper T, and then I had another moment of clarity. I'm like, why would I use a copper T that I'm going to fight with trying to get the wire through when I could just print one out of plastic and use it? I don't want to say you're not going to see this, but you are going to see it, but it's not going to look terrible. At least I hope it won't. The other funny thing is that nano adhesive is such good stuff that I can't get these off the build plate. So I can get the part off the build plate, but the support is staying in place. This is the second one of these I printed because I can't just print something once. I let the build plate cool off. So the game plan is this is just going to snap together, which it does. And this pipe, which is actually, and the pipe will fit around the outside. Okay, and then it snaps together shockingly well. Huh, look at that. Okay, I can't believe that well it actually did fit. And surface finish isn't all that great, but it's not terrible. I can live with it. I'm gonna live with it because I'm getting really tired of this project. That and my my railing showed up, so this project has to be finished. So since you've already seen this part of the project, I'm gonna cut this wire out of here. I'm gonna cut this wire and snake it out. Put one of these fittings on the end of this one, and be done with it. Fuck it, right? Uncle Fezzy from the future here, post-editing, right? In an attempt to negate the insane amount of wind noise that I get out of the shit GoPro camera here, I put a piece of tape over the microphone. I tested it, and it actually worked. It actually worked really well in testing, right? So it worked fine when I was testing it. Blah, 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 blah. Well, in practice, it didn't work. So I had a couple options. One was to do a total voiceover, which I really didn't feel like doing, and or futz with the audio a little bit. So you're going to get some variations in audio level for the rest of this rest of the video. Sorry, I'm not fixing it. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Nobody watches my shit anyway, so there you go. And then there'll be there's a written disclaimer too, because I was really pissed about it. Hey, new camera is on the way. Top it off, I forgot to hit record. You think the blinking white light on the blinking red light here on the front would have been indicator that I was recording. Oops. So what have I done? Let's go do the whole thing over again because I'm a dimwit. Here's the transformer mounted to the wall. This is the junction box that I printed out. I'm not super duper crazy about it, but these are rubber mounts. These are TPU mounts up against the wall here. And I have this copper pipe running down into this 3D printed plate. And that runs all the way under there. Here's my lamp. It's pretty much in position here where it's going to be. The only thing I'm not crazy about are the blue heads on these Tapcons. Look, the critics are here. And I have to put another one here because this is a little flunky. It's not a big deal. I'll just slide that back up in there. Put another clamp. There we go. Put another one of these straps in. We're good to go. Pipe runs down. It's at a little bit of an angle. So this is one of this is one of the brackets that I printed. They work beautifully. Right into there. There's the light. There's the bracket. Pipe runs along. You can see here, that's where they mount up. They're not going anywhere. They're nice and tight. I did put an extra strap in it right here to hold the corner up. I'm going to probably put another one in here, maybe. I haven't decided yet. Maybe not, because this is pretty well attached. My light. My beautiful soldered connections with a little bit of the Spinster's Friend on them to keep them from shorting out. This will go into this T here. This is the plug that goes into this light. So it goes into the plug right there. This will get tightened up right there, just like that. I 3D printed this box, which is going to go over this and hide it. And there's a lid that goes for this. It's not great, but best thing I could come up with right now. I could always paint the box if I want to. And then here's my light, which goes down to that light. The observant of us will know exactly what I just did wrong. And you're going to laugh your ass off. Or you already are laughing your ass off. Yep, that's right, kids. Make sure you put the ferrule on the end of the pipe before you flare the... Okay, nothing is ever 100% done around here, but we are about 98% done, for the most part. Done enough to conclude the video for the time being. So, let's take a look at this first. So here's the lamps, the lights, they're all in place. This is glue's drying on this, but they're all here. I have this ring that I printed, which is going to go here. Like that. Oh, just like that. I'm not going to install this just yet. For a couple reasons. The biggest reason being is I still have to I have to fight with some wires going through this little ass thing here, which I'm gonna have trouble fishing wire through that, I know, because it's so you can go out and poop, because I have another lamp that I'm going to put down here, because these stairs trip me up too. I have those little solar lights there, but they kind of suck. So I'm going to replace those. But that's it. Just all I have to do is put a cover on, and we're good to go. I did do something cool. I bought a heat insert thing right there. And they look like they're working pretty good. Or they're going to work pretty good. So that's it. That's 98%, right? Nothing's ever 100% around here. Old man noises. So, this is... Where are we here? This is the last tap I'm going to do. Shockingly, I was able to fish this wire through here. Yes, electricians all over the world are going crazy because I fished low voltage electric line through the same line I have PEX tubing going through. No wonder there's no water. There's wires in these pipes. Okay, so what I really want to show here is this thing. So this is a this one's a Blue Point, but it's actually a Weller. I just bought 2 of them. I had this one was finally had died on me, so that's it's a butane cordless soldering iron, but it has a it has a heat tip that gets really hot really fast. So I'm using these solder, these liquid solder or low temperature solder heat shrink connectors to add a tap to the end of this. And this thing works like incredibly well. I was shocked at how well this thing works. I have 2 of these soldering irons now. Let's my personally separate that. I have 2 of these soldering irons now, so I figured I'd dedicate one to this process. These don't work well with cigarette lighters or little hand torches. They don't like flame, but they do really well when you use just hot air. And all the thing that's coming out of here is hot air, just kind of like what comes out of me. Let's see here. Once it starts to flow, the solder starts to flow, and then I'll heat the ends of these up. And these, if you do it right, they provide a pretty decent watertight connection. Once the blue turns blue, these things work really well. I've only ever had one fail, and of course it was on my truck. And I'm not exactly sure why it failed, but it did. But you do have to be careful because they will stick together. I don't necessarily want these things to stick together right this second. The one thing you do have to be mindful of when using these is that you don't overheat them and you don't have any wily little wires, because the wily little wires will absolutely poke through the soft material. So you gotta kind of have to be careful. I'm gonna add a little tape to this one. This is overkill for this connection. I know it is, but it's what I had. You know, if you're gonna do it, you might as well overdo it, right? If you watched my last video where I drunkenly go on a rant, it's obvious that I like to overdo things. I'm running out of gas. These things do use a good bit of gas. Yeah, I'm out of gas. It's fine. We're good. That's a pretty decent connection. And one other thing you have to remember is this thing runs on for probably a good, 15 to 20 seconds. But when you put the lid on it, it automatically shuts it off, which is kind of cool. So that puts it off. If you ever have a chance, these are Weller, I forget the model number, but I love the shit out of this thing. Whew. Alright, now I'm going to throw some tape on it just because. I wasn't going to tape these. I don't necessarily, there's no need to tape it, but what the hell, right? So I'll throw a little finishing tape on it. Buy good tape, don't buy that cheap shit from fucking Harbor Freight. This is 3M33. 33 plus, I like this stuff. We make better stuff, but that's what I'm using right now. These things just come apart, they're just taps. I have a little bit of spare wire. I know that. That's going to get tucked up into there, thusly. Like that. And then this is for irrigation. I use drip irrigation here. Now, this is going to get fixed, but then this is going to go on here. This is going to go on here later. I got to figure this one out because it's a little bit flunky, or a little bit funky. I think what I'm actually going to do is grind the stone. I'm going to mark it. I'll mark this a little bit better, and then I'll use my diamond grinder to grind the stone back. There's a little booger here. The other option is I have some standoffs, but I don't necessarily want to use the standoffs. This is purely just to hide this connection. There's no waterproofing that needs to be done. It's not anything other than just hide this ugliness right here. For the last year and a half, or last 2 years, I just had a flower pot. Actually, the flower pot's behind. This is printed out of 100% ABS. ABS with 100% infill, and then I put these thread setters in here. The other thing I might do is paint this, that bronze, that oiled bronze. So that's it. I'm done until tonight, and then we'll show what it looks like at night. I put the other light over there, right there. Oh, man noises. So there's the other light. Make sure it's lit. Looks like it is. Yep, it's lit. Good. So, how do you overly complicate a low voltage lighting system that's designed to be installed by homeowners and simpletons? Let Uncle Fezzy do it for you. So here we are at dusk. It's not even dusk, it's actually still pretty much light out. But this is what I wanted to show here. That cleaned up nicely. Well, here we are at night. Or at least pretty close to it. It looks shockingly bright. It's kind of hard to tell with the video, but yeah, it's like impressively bright. Like, I think I may have put too many lights in bright. There we go. These are intentionally aimed this way to throw a little bit more out into the yard, and well, they did. They threw a lot out in the yard. It's actually really super bright out here. I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Totally shocked. So here it is from the top. I guess the video camera doesn't really show it. And then here's the other lights. Let me take a video of it down here. I'm really impressed, actually. Shockingly impressed. We're going to put one more up there, I think. So, my low voltage lighting project is completed. And I get a lot of complaints that my videos are too long. I know my videos are too long. But I addressed it before, and the truth of the matter is, I really kind of want to show how much effort goes into even the most simplest of projects. And the other thing I want to show is, or talk about is, this is the use and care guide for just the transformer. Tools required: a claw hammer, an electrician's knife, and a Phillips screwdriver. In front of me, you see thousands of dollars worth of tools and, you know, a good 2 decades of 25 years of home ownership and 30 years of being a craftsman. Did I overcomplicate the project? Only slightly, but not really. Yes, granted, I do have a 3D printer, and I did 3D print parts. You know, I did teach myself how to use Fusion 360 to design these parts, which took time. You know, this project took me about a week. Granted, I only work about 6 hours a day, on a good day. And, you know, there was some time that I had to wait for stuff to come off the printer, and time that it took me to design some of the parts, and, you know, editing the video wasn't that big of a deal. But I think the point I'm trying to make is, don't underestimate the amount of labor and work and knowledge that is required to do the most simplest of projects. I should probably just do a video on how much effort is required to do some of the simplest things. Granted, if I had planned exponentially ahead and had the bracketry installed with the wall, then this project would have gone a little bit simpler, but not really, because the whole idea is to hide the wiring. You know, that's why this project took so long, is it took forever for me to figure out how to retrofit the wiring into the wall and not see the wiring. You see copper pipe, but you don't actually see the wires. The copper is going to patina over time, and you'll never even notice it. It'll just look like it belongs there, because it does. It was the way it was designed. So be kind to your contractor, and understand that you get what you pay for. And you're not just paying for the materials, you're paying for the time, you're paying for all the tools that dude had to buy, and his knowledge and experience in doing whatever project it is that you're set out to do. That 30-minute video that you watched, or 30-second video, that 30-minute television show that you watched isn't what it took to do the job. I only showed about a third of this project, and it's still 4 videos and 6 hours long. You know, that's just the way it is. You can't. That's it. It's just like a quantification, you know. So there you go. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for anything. If anything, I'm just pointing out that there's a lot more to projects than anybody that doesn't do projects, that doesn't work with their hands, that doesn't have to think outside of, you know, a claw hammer, an electrician's knife, and a Phillips screwdriver.